Sahana bhavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sah Veeryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Dayakaram Dayakaram, Dantam Dharma Pravartakam, Pranamami Dayanandam, Madhacharya Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vedo Nityamadhiyatam Tadudidam Karma Swanushtiyata Tene Shasya Vidhiyata Apachiti Kamye Matistyakshata Papogam Paridhuyata Bhavasukhe Doshonusandhiyata Atme cha Vyavasiyata Nijagrahat Tonam Vinirgamyata Sangasatsu Vidhiyata Bhagavato Bhaktirdridadiyata Shantyantif Parichiyata Dridataram Karmashu Santyachyata Satvidvanupasripyata Pratidinam Tatpaduka Sevyatam Brahmekaksharamatyatam Shruti Shiro Vakyam Samakaryatam Vakyarthascha Vicharyatam Shruti Shira Pakshasamaashriyatam Dustarkat suvirapyatam Shruti-matas tarkonusandhiyatam Brahmaivasmi vibhavyatam Maharahat garva parityajyatam Deheham matirujyatam Buddha-janairvadah parityajyatam Kshudvyadishcha chikitsyataam pratidinam vikshaushadam pujyatam Swadvannam natu yachyatam vidivashat praptena santushyatam Shitoshnadi vishakyatam natu pritha vakyam samucharyatam Audasinyamadhipsyata janakripa naishturyamutssrijyata Ekante sukhamasyata paratare chetas samadhiyata Purnatma susamikshata jagadidam tadbhaditam trishyata Prakarma pravilapyatam chitibalan napyuttare slishyatam Prarabdham tviha bhujyatam athapara brahmatmanasthiyatam Prarabdham tviha bhujyatam athapara brahmatmanasthiyatam. So this is one of the final texts. They all ask him, the four main Shishyas, they ask what they, the knowledge from Adi Shankaracharya before he leaves. So he says, he gives the Sadhana Panchakam, very beautiful. Before we begin the text, I think many of you have some introduction to Vedanta, have some background to Vedanta, but it is always good to go over the main reason why we are studying Vedanta. So I always like to begin with a refresher on the Purusharthas, what is really required, or what is really sought after by everybody. So we find ourselves in life because, Swamiji said very beautifully, Vedanta doesn't really teach you anything. Life teaches you. Life is the teacher. Vedanta helps you assimilate your life. This is a very beautiful thing to know. So Vedanta is not an academic subject. It is something you have to see for yourself in your life. And what is it we see? After living a few years on this planet, we come to see what? We come to see that there is some incompleteness, there is a feeling of inadequacy, there is always this feeling of lack in me. Why do I see that? Because only somebody who's dissatisfied with themselves will constantly want to change something, right? Either I change myself, want to get more, I want to get more money, or I want to get more power, I want to get more name, fame. Many ways we try and change ourselves, want to achieve something, we want to gain something, do something. So this, again, sign of dissatisfaction. I'm not okay as I am. There is something lacking and I want to fulfill myself. I want to discover fulfillment, satisfaction. Vidya, please take and just give. Please, Mahita, you can just give her. So I seek some change in my surroundings, or I seek some change in myself. I also seek change in others for my happiness. That's another mistake we make, because that never usually happens, but we do. And this type of change seeking we don't see in animals. We don't see a cow. If a cow has very crooked horns, it doesn't compare itself to a neighboring cow and say, oh, the horns are so straight, mine are crooked. Why are my horns crooked? We don't see dog pining to be a bird, right? Or wants to fly. Dog is happy as a dog. So we don't see this type of wanting something to be different in animals as well. And why is that? Because there is a reason human beings are self conscious creatures. We are highly self conscious. Self conscious means I'm aware of myself. I know I exist. And the problem is, I don't know how I exist. I know I exist. I don't know how I exist. So I make a self judgment. I make many self judgments. And because of my self judgments, because I judge myself, what happens? I judge myself and I mistake myself to be what I am not. So I take the attributes of the body as mine. I take the attributes of mind as mine. I take all the attributes of what I really am not as my own attributes. So this is where all the struggles of human beings begin. The struggle is ultimately to become complete. And how do I seek completeness? As I said, many ways, depending on personal likes and dislikes. But generally, society has an idea of success, right? If you achieve this, if you get this, you're a successful person, then you will be complete, you will be satisfied. So society's idea of success is there, coupled with my own likes and dislikes in various fields. I try and aim to become much bigger, much better, and everything. So this struggle in life to become, to change, is what is called in Sanskrit samsara. This is samsara. Samsara can be put under fourfold attempt in life. First of all, I acquire something. I can acquire something to feel satisfied and complete. Like if I don't have the latest Mercedes or BMW, I want to, I work overtime to get the car or get the dream home, get something. So acquisition is the first attempt in samsara. Most people are involved in acquisition, right? Acquiring this or that. Second attempt in samsara is, I've already acquired that thing. Then what do I do? Because it is source of security, source of happiness for me, I want to retain it. So keeping something also is an attempt in samsara. I don't want to lose it. So retention also is a manifestation of samsara. So if I want to retain something, I'm afraid I don't want to lose it because I'm dependent on my happiness on that thing, then I want to retain it. Second attempt in samsara, we all do. Third attempt in samsara. Now, what do we do to be happy? We try and get rid of something. I don't want this. Something I have already, I want to get rid of. So I have I have a partner now. My partner is not, conducive to my happiness. I want to get rid. These days in India, divorce rate is going up very high. Very sad to see. I'm not happy with this partner, so I'll change partners. So many things. I have something already. I don't like it. I want to, distance myself again for my own satisfaction, for my own peace. And the last attempt in samsara is, I want to avoid something which I feel will make me unhappy. So any kind of illness, disease, all of this can be put under this head. So there is a fourfold attempt on part of all human beings through some process of change, if you notice, through some process of change to become something different. So I keep on changing the world. I keep on changing situations. I try and change people, objects, everything, again, to feel complete and happy. So seeking completeness to the process of change is always to make myself adequate, to make myself satisfied, to make myself fulfilled ultimately. But there are times actually in life where we discover happiness without doing anything. Everyone has glimpses of those moments. Suppose if even in Manjakkudi, you can see, I can just sit in that garden. I can just watch the birds. I can see the flowers. I can just be at peace with myself. Do I need to change anything to be happy there? Do I need to do anything to be happy? No. So there are moments like this when I listen to a beautiful Carnatic concert. I'm just absorbed, all my problems are forgotten, everything. I'm just absorbed in the music. Anything that captures my mind, I feel complete, I feel satisfied without changing anything. Many things are like that. We find ourselves in moments where I don't need to fulfill any desire to feel happy, to feel content. So, this is something also we have to see. There are moments like this, everybody has. And sometimes when I gain something in life also, how am I so sure it will make me happy? Sometimes it can make me unhappy as well. So the very gain of the thing I thought will give me so much joy turns to unhappiness. Oscar Wilde said something very beautifully. He said, in the world, there are only two tragedies in this world. One is getting what one wants, the other is not getting what one wants. So even getting what one wants is a tragedy. So just like that, sometimes when I get what I want, it may not be what I really am looking for. So what do I recognize here? I recognize that maybe in those moments, maybe I don't need to do anything to be happy because I'm just happy being myself. That is contentment, and I don't know what happens there, but moments are like that where I am happy just being myself. I don't complain ever to anybody that I'm happy, right? I don't go to my wife or spouse and say, I'm so happy today. It's horrible. I don't want, why am I so happy today? I'm so satisfied today. I'm so happy. We don't, but we complain about unhappiness, right? When I say I'm feeling low today, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling unhappy. What does that show? It shows that happiness is your nature, sorrow is not your nature. If sorrow was your nature, unhappiness was your nature, you would be happy being unhappy. But we're not, because we always complain about being unhappy. So, what is the logic? That happiness seems to be natural. and I don't complain about it, sorrow is not natural. So whole of life is what? It is to get rid of the sorrow. So in one way, we want to get rid of sorrow. Another way seen, I want to gain happiness, and not just for a little time. I want to be happy all the time. So what Vedanta actually says is that this seeking for happiness through, we saw, process of change in samsara. In fact, all our actions can be put under those four headings. Everything anybody is doing can be under those four headings. Everything I try and change is all due to the confusion surrounding I. So the number one protagonist, the main actor in this whole drama of life is who? I. I, the individual, with all the history, the name, the form, the past, all the problems, everything, with all the relationships, everything. Here, Vedanta comes into the picture and says, you don't need to change anything to be happy. You don't need to do anything to be happy. Your very swarupa, your nature is that of happiness. Your very swarupa is of joy. And this recognizing this reality of your swarupa is actually your birthright. Every human being's birthright is to recognize the swarupa of happiness. So the Veda reveals that there is this one entity that is called Brahman, pure, limitless consciousness, Sat Chit Ananda. And that Brahman pervades this whole universe, including my body, mind, senses. That Brahman limitlessness pervades me as well. So here is where Vedanta comes into the picture to correct the wrong notion of I. The limited I that you think you are, the limited I that you want to escape from through all the activities in life is not the real you. That is imposter self. You take it to be the real self, but it is imposter you. And the discovery of the real you is the only way out of the life of sorrow. There is no other way. Otherwise, we will just be going up and down according to circumstances in life. Pleasant situation, I'm happy. Unpleasant situation, I'm sad. Whole life is lived like yo-yo, emotional life. So to understand that I don't need to have any change externally, whether pleasant or unpleasant, let it happen. But my Swarupa, Atma, Brahman, we call it, consciousness is never disturbed. It is never touched by any of the limitations of the external world, by anything that happens in the external world. There is a very beautiful mantra in the Mundaka Upanishad. There, Brahman is pointed to Lakshanavad, Yettat Adreshyam Agrahyam Agotram Avarnam Achakshushotram Tadapani Padam Nityam Vibham Sarvagatam Susukshmam Tat Avyayam Yat Bhutayonim Paripashyanti Dhiraha. Very beautiful mantra that explains Brahman, unfolds Brahman. Brahman is that which cannot be perceived, which cannot be grasped, which has no source, it has no gotra, it has no lineage. It is without properties. It is without eyes, without limbs, without hands, without legs. It is the timeless, all-pervasive truth, very subtle, susukshmam, very subtle, which has become many, which is imperishable, and it is the material cause for all this universe. And the wise ones, the discriminative ones, they can see this Brahman cognitively. So when we talk about seeing in the Shastra, it is not through this eyes. It is always cognitive vision. The wise ones recognize that to be the reality of this Jagat. So what Vedanta says is that whole life journey is to discover this Brahman, limitlessness, to be your very Swarupa, to be your very self. And in that discovery, self-discovery, what else do I discover? I discover the Swarupa of Bhagavan. Because Tattvam Asi, one of the Mahavakyas in the Vedanta Shastra, equates the jiva, the tiny individual jiva, with that, the Lord. Not equated on the level of upadhi, not equated on the level of this tiny body, mind, sense complex, because you can never be one on this level. The equation is always on the intrinsic level, that level of consciousness. That's where self-discovery equates to God discovery, equates to world discovery, equates to joy discovery. So all the reality, you discover the reality of the whole life, actually, with one discovery, self-discovery. So in order to discover the self, we have to understand what is the main problem. So all the gains we do in samsara are within space and time, right? Everything we do for karma phalam. So we do a lot of actions, karma, for certain results. And those results come, I feel happy for some time. And then what happens? I keep doing more action. Desire arises, there's all a list. We can't see it now, but it's all hidden inside. List is already coming up. List comes up, and then I act in life to fulfill the desire. So we're all going on like this. One desire is fulfilled. I'm happy for a length of time. Then what happens next on the list? Go for the next desire. Then that fulfilled, next desire. Whole life is like this. So this is the gain we know. This is the gain we already know. But there is the other gain. So how do I gain this limitless? Where is the limitless away from me? Is the limitless, does limitlessness have any distance? If it's limitless, it can't be away from me, right? It's limitless. If it's all pervasive, how can it be away from me? Then why can I not recognize it? We have to see that. How do we gain it? Because I don't know it right now. So this gain is a different type of gain. It is the gain of something you already have in your possession. It is the gain of the already gained. So the second type of gain is something like discovering. Swamiji used to use the example of having your reading glasses on your head. And you're shouting at your wife, you're shouting at your children, where did you put my glasses? What did you do? Everybody, whole family, you've irritated looking for your glasses. You're blaming everybody. Because generally we blame everybody before we see that we may have done something wrong. Usually, or somebody's taken it, this one has done. So where then your little child comes and said, Papa, they're on your head. So what does that gain? Have you ever been away from the glasses? The glasses have always been there on your head. So this is called gain of the already gained. You have the keys in your pocket, car keys. That's another thing we do. We have, we blame everybody. Where did you put them? You put them here. You cleaned the house last. You must have put them in another room. Then you look in your pocket. What happens? You find the keys. So you discover you have something already with you. So this is called the gain of the already gained. One first gain is in space and time. Second gain is something which is already with you. Then where is the distance between this gain? Where is the distance in the second gain? Zero distance. There's no distance here. It's immediate. The distance is only in knowledge. The distance is ignorance. Ignorance is this distance between the self that you want to be and the self that you think you are. So this is the distance we talk about. So how do we bridge this distance then? So self-ignorance is the problem. And here is where Vedanta becomes the means of knowledge, which is an important thing. Means it is used. Vedanta needs to be used to discover, to bridge that distance, to discover your Swarupa, discover who you are. So Vedanta as a means of knowledge is something different from the other means of knowledge we have. So what other means of knowledge we have? Means of knowledge brings in knowledge, right? Means of knowledge. So we have 5 means of knowledge. Eyes bring in form and color. Ears bring in sounds. Touch, skin brings in touch. Tongue brings in taste. And the nose brings in smell. Everything is pointed to the external world. All of this is means of knowledge and brings in data from the external world. But here we're talking about imperceptible all-pervasive truth of this entire universe. Can the senses have any access to this? You can't see it, we just read that Mundaka Upanishad. You can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't do anything. Senses have zero access to this Brahman. Then how do I discover this self? How do I discover? We need another means of knowledge. We need something to help us to unfold what this limitlessness is. That is where Vedanta comes into the picture. It is not just a book for us. It is a means of knowledge called pramana. Pramana is the sixth Shabda Pramana. It is the means of knowledge through the words that reveal the truth of the self to all. So self-study does not work in this field. Here you require systematic handling of the words of Vedanta to unfold the Swarupa to you. It is a communicable knowledge. It has been communicated by the rishis to their shishyas. Those shishyas have become rishis. And like this, it is passed down unbroken in Sampradaya. It is coming down today, to today's day and age, coming down in a lineage. So this Pramana Buddhi in the Shastra becomes very, very important to cultivate because it is to be handled and you allow the Pramana to work on you. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to force yourself to listen. You don't need to make any attempt to listen. Just sit, allow the Pramana to work on you, like you allow a surgeon to operate on you, right? It's like when you're in the class, you shouldn't be under anesthesia and sleep, okay? But you allow the surgeon to just operate on you without making any effort. So here, the ego, during the Shravanam process, what happens? The ego is withheld for some time. All my concepts, all the reading I've done all my life, everything I've come with, you put in the background until Vedanta works. So clean slate, clean mind is needed because the main method for Vedanta Jnanam to take place is Shravanam. Shravanam is the Angi, the main method. Teaching should be heard regularly, committedly, systematically for a length of time. So length of time, people ask how much time it takes. Does 3.5-year course, 6-month course, 3.5 course, is that enough? Some people it may be enough. Some people one day may be enough. Ramana Maharishi, one moment is enough. If one is prepared, if the mind is qualified, this knowledge can dawn in 1 second. Okay, it doesn't matter. There's no time limit here. But generally, human beings need a long time. It is not easy to get this because a lot of wrong orientation is there in the mind. Lot of wrong thinking, constant identification with body, mind, senses, not just this Janma. So Janmantara, we have come with misidentity, wrong identity, not knowing who we are. So to correct that wrong notions, you need to take a length of time. So Shravanam is the main Angi. After Shravanam or during Shravanam itself, the Angas are Mananam. Mananam means repeated reflection on what has been heard. You have to spend some time with yourself. It is not just 1 hour, that's it, out of the class, as Swamiji used to say, Paramahansa used to say, as soon as you take your chappals off, come to the class, soon as chappals are put on after class, that's it, back to samsara. So this is a knowledge that should come to you during your days in your life, in your workplace, any free moment you have, you can contemplate. Not that when you're doing your work, you have to think about Atma, 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 because you won't be able to function there in your office, right? Somebody comes and speaks to you, have a board meeting or something, say, no, Atma, Tattvamasi, no, because you'll probably get fired, okay? So when you do your work, you do your work, you do your work properly. But in the spare time, spend time reflecting on what you have heard. Something you can spend time contemplating. It requires a lot of self-contemplation and you have to learn to absorb what has been said. So that also requires time. So manana means reflection upon what has been heard and also clearing the doubts with the teacher. That's why in this tradition, teachers are always accessible. There is an access to the teachers you don't get in other traditions, because the doubt clearing has to be there on a, on a certain basis for a length of time for the knowledge to stay with you. So mananam becomes an important anga in this process of gaining knowledge and retaining knowledge. And the last anga is nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam, again, after Shravanam Mananam is done, maybe also during Shravanam Mananam, it also comes together. It is claiming up the knowledge as yourself. So seeing that what is being said by Vedanta is me ultimately. So Mananam, you have no doubts. You take a word that reveals Brahman, a Lakshanartha, you take a defining word that reveals Brahman, Atma, and make it your own. Someone once told me, Swamiji used to sit, Pujya Swamiji, Ganga, used to sit on the rock, in the middle of the Ganga, and just take one word, spend the whole day doing nididhyasanam on that word. Nitya, like Nitya. What does that mean? Not time bound, birthless, deathless. Nitya means eternal, timeless. So, like this, claim I am the Swarupa of timelessness. There is no birth for me, there is no death for me. It is only for the stula shariram, for this physical body, there is birth and death. I am the limitless, birthless, deathless truth. Like this, one has to claim up for oneself. So discovering yourself to be this timeless reality is what we call moksha. We'll see a little bit more later, but the reason why knowledge doesn't stay, the reason why knowledge doesn't stay and settle, because there requires a preparedness of mind. The instrument to know is where. You don't know with your foot or your hand, right? Knowledge takes place where? Knowledge takes place in the mind. If the mind is not properly prepared, then knowledge cannot stay. So half our battle in life is to actually prepare the instrument to know. That is where texts like Sadhana Panchakam, sadhana means five verses which talk about the means to gain this knowledge. The means, so you have the sadhaka, the one who is using the means to get to what? Sadhya. There's three things. Sadhya is the goal. So sadhaka uses the sadhana to get the sadhya. So Sadhana Panchakam is written by one of the great sages, the great saints in our lineage, Adi Shankaracharya, great jnani and one of the greatest reformers in India. When Hinduism was under attack in so many ways, Adi Shankaracharya, only through his debates, through his scholarship, through his clarity, his vision, he united, brought people back to the Vedic heritage, Vedic culture as well. So it is said he completed his mission at 32 years of age. I think many of you may have known. I'm not going through all the story, but amount of things he has contributed, we cannot believe he was only 32 when he left his body. So we call him Avatar. This normal human being cannot have achieved so much. He is an Amsha avatar of Lord Shiva. He is considered like that. And he traveled the length and breadth of India, establishing mathas, studied at Varanasi also, and in Omkareshwara he met his guru Gaudapada Acharya, and he stayed with him for a length of time. So he had this formal education for some time as well, but of course he was born brilliant as well. So here Adi Shankaracharya has given us a manual for this spiritual pursuit. Very beautiful set of 5 verses which contain 40 steps. You can't believe he's packed 40 steps into 5 verses. And how are these verses arranged? So you have, each line, you have 2 sections in each line. And each section has one particular advice of Adi Shankaracharya. I would say more than advice, it is like a blessing actually, because he says, may you, he's telling his Shishya. And the first, so he talks about, the first step he talks about is called Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam. So 40 steps describing from where we are to what we want to be, where we want to achieve, what we want to get to. This text is called Sopana Panchakam also. It has some other name. Sopana, steps. Steps to Sopana Panchakam, and also Upadesha Pancharatnam. Upadesha Pancharatnam is another name given, which means the 5 jewels of teaching, 5 verses, jewels of teaching. So the 40 instructions of Adi Shankaracharya, as we have chanted, begins with Vedo Nityamadhiyata. May one study the Vedas daily. So he says here, may one study the Vedas daily. So what does that mean in modern context? Can we go and study the Vedas in Patashalas nowadays? No, we can't, because we have to adapt. See, Shastra, we have to adapt what Shankara is saying to this modern age as well. So we cannot all go. In those days, they used to go and study Vedankas as well as Veda. First, Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chandas, Jyotisham, all of these Vedankas were the auxiliaries for understanding Veda. They used to study all of these, like grammar, prosody for chanting, things like this, Kalpa, rituals, the know-how. Kalpa is the know-how of how to do rituals. All of this, to understand Veda, they used to study. We cannot do all of that given the modern pressures and what we have to, how we have to live in this modern age. So Vedas are considered the source book of knowledge in Sanatana Dharma culture. So I don't like to use the word Hindu because that's a foreign word actually. What, best way to describe what we follow is Sanatana Dharma. It is eternal Dharma. Sanatana means it is timeless. It was always there. It will continue to be there always. The Vedas are the source text. In fact, it is the longest living religion in the history of mankind. Every other, even indigenous religions, indigenous ways of life have been destroyed or changed. Sanatana Dharma, to this day, the Vedas are chanted exactly as they were when they were given, due to a way of communication. We'll see in the next chanting class how they handed over with the swaras and everything. But beautiful, maintained tradition to this day. The only one that has survived is Sanatana Dharma. There's no other one. Rig Veda is the oldest text, not just for India. It is the oldest text for humanity. The Rig Veda. In fact, we say Vedas are timeless. Academics date Vedas 3000 BC like this, but it was an oral tradition. So it was handed over orally for thousands of years. So we don't date Vedas at all. It is called Apaurushaya. Apaurushaya is not man-made. It is straight from Ishvara himself. We consider Vedas straight from Ishvara himself. And how are Vedas, how have they been revealed? They were revealed to mantra drashtaha or mantra drashtaraha. So these are the rishis who actually saw the mantras in their seat of their meditation, height of their meditation. The Vedas were revealed to them. So when Adi Shankara talks about study of Vedas, what does he really mean? Not just the study of the chanting and all of this. He's talking about the content. When you study what is the content? That content is timeless. That content is needed for today's day and age as well. What do the Vedas talk about? One major theme in the Veda, especially in the Purva Bhaga or Karma Kanda, the first portion, talks about karma and dharma. Karma means the law of action, the law of cause and effect. Dharma is the marker on which we make our choices in life. Dharma has so many different meanings. Every context you can take different meanings, but here it means it is a choice. It is what is given to us in our conscience. It's actually something we have intrinsically within us. How do we make choices in life? So we can call Dharma the ethical order, universal order, the moral order of this universe, which means every human being everywhere knows these values. What are these? Some of these values: truthfulness, compassion, non-injury, non-violence, kindness, forgiveness. All of this as human beings, we all know. We don't need to be told. I want people to be kind to me. But at the same time, others also want me to be kind to them. It is a reciprocal arrangement here. Dharma means what I want people to do to me, I should also do the same to them, right? It is called, in fact, it is called the golden rule. If you look it up, it's a very beautiful thing. The golden rule, it comes in all religions, it comes in all cultures, all traditions. Do unto others as you wish others to do unto you. This is the basis of Dharma, actually. So, universal moral order, ethics, and it is the marker for choice. Vedas reveal this, that every choice that we make in life, any action, because action implies choice. I have to act, right? How do I choose to act? Dharma is the way I choose to act. And what do the Vedas reveal? So if I act according to this moral order, ethical order, I gain a certain result in life. That result is called punya. So punya is invisible result, adrishta, invisible, unseen result of actions I take in my life following dharma. And following dharma, I get a drishta palam. Drishta palam means immediate result I may see. What is the immediate result when I'm in line with dharma, when I follow dharma? Immediate result will be non-conflicting mind. Non-conflicted mind. I will definitely, when I do the right thing, how you can see for yourselves, when I do the right thing in life, I have nothing in my mind, no conflicts at all, right? Doing the right thing, I'm in line with dharma. So that, apart from the visible result I get, the Veda reveals I get invisible result. The invisible result is called punya. And what is punya? Punya is invisible result that will manifest for you in your life future. In this life future or in further life future, it will manifest for you in the form of pleasant results. So all favorable results we're experiencing because of punya manifestation. So this is when I use dharma to make a choice in life. Now I can use dharma to make another choice, a negative choice, right? I'm talking about positive choice. I can also use dharma as a marker to make a negative choice, meaning my desire is so strong for that $100,000. I think I will lie. I will cheat my friend out of that $100,000. I know I'm doing wrong because dharma is already there. I know I'm going to create some hurt. I'm going to reduce his bank account, but I got my eye on that $100,000. And if I can pretend like he can invest in some stocks. I've got some scheme, Ponzi scheme happening. He can invest in some stocks, and I will get that money. And he won't know anything about it, right? So what does that mean? I'm violating the universal ethical moral order of dharma. I'm making choice. I have that ability to choose as a human being that differentiates me from animals. Animals can't choose, but I'm making the choice. This side of dharma, what happens? Drishta palam is what? $100,000. Drishta palam in my bank account. Maybe I look at it, I will be very happy immediately. Adrishta palam is what? Two results come from my choice. Invisible result of action creates something called papa. That papa also goes into my invisible account, right? I may not see it. That's why people, don't believe in Veda, don't understand this principle, don't mind violating the moral order because they don't know what they lose. Here, Swamiji used to say, better to teach people what they lose by violating Dharma than to teach what they gain by following Dharma. Because when you know, loss is infinite. How is the loss? You have the $100,000 now. You got what you want. Will you be able to enjoy it? That is the question. See, to enjoy anything in life, you need the frame of mind to enjoy. So what you have created already inside is a split. If the thinker knows I'm doing the wrong thing, the doer does the wrong thing anyway. So you've created already inner conflict, inner split between thinker, speaker, doer. And when that split is created, you cannot enjoy what you have gained through these means. So, one time or other, if not immediate, this inner split will manifest in the form of maybe sleepless night or some kind of papa karma, which means unfavorable circumstance for you, unpleasant circumstance for you, which you don't want. So this is called the idea of punya and papa, law of karma and dharma, which is revealed in the Veda. What else can we learn from the Veda? Because here Adi Shankaracharya says, Vedo nityam adhiyatam. Keep thinking about what the Veda talks about. So all of this is talked about also in the Veda. Veda talks about dharma in a different sense as well. Doing the right thing. In two ways we can do the right thing. Samanya dharma, universal dharma, and Vishesha dharma, which is swadharma, what is to be done by you in a particular role, particular time and place. So Samanya dharma means universal values, vision and view of life. And Vishesha dharma, which is swadharma, your own individual dharma, means your duties and responsibilities according to the station of life you are in. And here is where Veda had a beautiful structure for human beings called the Varnashrama Dharma. We don't have it today's day and age because everybody's all over the place. But if you see how it works, it is really wonderful to see. So we have the Varna Dharmas. Varna means Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, which has often been mistaken as the caste system or taken wrongly as caste system. It is not how it was unfolded in the Veda. These are various roles in society that were given in those Vedic times according to your karma, your profession, and your qualities. So if you are very much into, if you had a very knowledge-based type of mind, very calm mind, you have a teaching type of disposition, you're naturally a Brahmin, right? And you go into that particular profession. So it was not based on jati, not based on birth. In those days, it was based on your qualities you exhibited and also your profession. Then various roles according to your stages in life are called brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. So these are delineated by emotional maturity. So growing into the most emotionally mature is sannyasa. So one is various roles in society and the other is various roles during the course of your life. So very beautifully, Varnashrama Dharma was unfolded in the Veda as well. Today also, we can see in societies to some extent, we don't have to categorize people, but every society will have the educators, the administrators, the business people, and the blue collar workers. We see everywhere, which is exactly what this is. So this is called the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, which discuss this and of course many other things. But Veda as a pramana reveals the imperceptible, what is unseen. Then you have the second part of the Veda, Veda Antabhaga, Vedanta, we call it. Veda Antabhaga is also known as Jnana Kanda. So first you have the Karma Kanda, now you have the Jnana Kanda. And here, what does Jnana Kanda discuss? After having experienced all there is to experience in the Karma Kanda portion, you have done all there is to be done in life for rituals and results. If you wanted wealth, you do avahanti homam, or if you want progeny, you do putra kameshti yaga. So many things. You want some goals in life, you do some certain pujas and rituals. Then you come to something, some realization. Slowly you come to karma kanda, the jnana kanda, which is what I discussed earlier, the portion of knowledge. You recognize that I'm not fulfilled by any of that ultimately. I've lived a full life, I've lived a complete life, but I'm not fully satisfied with my life. Then jnana kanda comes into the picture. So Veda reveals that also at the end. So I think we have going into this, I think we're going to, I wanted to discuss a little bit of Purusharthas. So Purushartha, before we go into anything, because Purushartha is also understood, revealed by the Veda. Purushena atyate iti Purushartha. What is desired by every human being is called Purushartha. So, as we saw, the one thing we desire is limitlessness, freedom from sorrow. But how do we look for that limitlessness? So I said samsara, in one way, samsara is life of becoming. Through a process of change, I want to become something else. So how do I change here? Here, Purusharthas, we have Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. There are 4 Purusharthas given in our Veda. So the first Purushartha is seeking security through change. Security means anything that makes me feel happy with myself, usually financial. So many times it's translated as financial security. That always makes me feel secure. Even if I have a bank account with some crores, some politicians we know they have in Swiss accounts, crores of rupees. What they do with it, I don't know. They're just sitting there. But how they feel about it, they must feel secure, right? And that's why they have it there. So I can have crores of rupees stored somewhere and it is giving me security. So Artha is security through finances. Artha can come through properties. So if I have a property here, property there, I feel secure. I have a property in India, I have a property in UK, I have a property in US, I feel secure. In fact, just we were talking, in breakfast. The more properties we have, it seems to be more headache, to take care of maintenance and everything. We don't realize that, but I feel some sort of security if I have things, secure. So relationships also make me feel secure. So artha is any type of thing that helps me feel good about myself. We call it ego boost. Whatever gives me ego boost is called artha. Even children give me ego boost. Why? Because generally when they're young, they look up to me, they love me unconditionally. Because I have such low esteem, my kids praise me, so I'm very happy. At least I have a couple of people who, little beings who feel good about me. So children also give me ego boost, artha. Okay, this is also artha. And as I said, many things you can put that. Future security I look for, medical security, all insurance, insuring I don't know, here, India also, they started insuring. You insure every body part, every object in your house, everything is insured all the time. Again, to feel secure. If this happens, I need this. If this happens, I need this. So this is called one pursuit in samsara, the need for security. Then securities, I have so many securities. What do I do with them? I spend it for kama, pleasure. I love pleasure. So I spend my security to awaken that pleased self. I love that feeling of pleased me. Whenever I feel happy, that's pleased me arises. So I can please that me through sense pleasures, many sense pleasures available, especially Diwali. We had lots of sense pleasures, rasmalai, gulab jamun, all jalebis, so many sweet, lot of sense pleasures. So especially with tongue, so many sense pleasures available. I feel good with sense pleasures. Aesthetic pleasures, dance, music, all of this, study, this is also a type of pleasure. Intellectual pleasure, knowledge, reading, studying. So many different types of pleasures are there. Depending on the culture, the time, the place, people go in different directions to experience pleasure. But one thing is common, that people seek security is one thing, that people want to experience pleasure. 99.9% of people are doing Artha Kama pursuit only. Whole Jagat is doing Artha Kama. But there is the third pursuit, as I said, in this understanding, Dharma. Dharma means that I pursue here. Dharma means more than karma, more than pleasures. I've had enough of those. I reach out to others. I want to help, charity. I want to do good things. I feel a different type of joy in this Dharma pursuit, which also becomes a pursuit for us. So I spend my time more with service activities, building hospitals, supporting orphanages, things like that. That is Dharma pursuit. But finally, the Veda talks about one last pursuit, which we have actually seen, but I've not called it anything. And this last pursuit is called Moksha. It is the fourth pursuit described in the Veda, but there is not really a fourth pursuit. You'll see why. It is the pursuit of what we saw. It is a pursuit of limitlessness. It is a pursuit of unconditioned happiness. What does it mean, unconditioned happiness? Happiness that is not dependent on anything external. You're not dependent on your bank account for happiness. You're not dependent on any artha relationships for your happiness, not dependent on even pleasures for your happiness. It is unconditioned happiness, discovering yourself to be fullness and meaning of all security. So here, this fourth pursuit, the Shastra calls moksha. And how is this moksha discovered? There is where Veda says, Atma vare drashtabhyaha. This Atma has to be seen. It is the Atma that will give you what you really want. What you're seeking is not external to you. Yes, you are seeking the right thing. We're not saying you're seeking the wrong thing. Everybody is seeking. It's a natural urge. It is something inbuilt in you. When you're born on this planet, all life is for this one thing to fulfill. It is very natural, like you want to eat, like you want to drink, to fulfill your thirst. That is all natural urge. The urge to be happy is also natural urge. The only issue is you're looking for the right thing in the wrong place. You're looking for the right thing. Everybody's looking for the right thing. But where you're looking for the thing, you're looking in the external world, which we will see. He brings in a lot of vichara here in the Sadhana Panchakam. It will never come from the external world. Whatever you want, really want, the external world can never give you what you really want. And if you think it can, always disappointment will be the lot. And you will blame everybody. You are not making me happy. This is not making me happy. Usually we end up blaming external world for everything, right? That is not the external world's fault. The world is as it is. People are as they are. But it is my need to be happy I have to address. So moksha means understanding your very swarupa to be happiness. This is what the Veda reveals. And Veda becomes pramana, primary means of knowledge, is going back, primary means of knowledge to understand moksha. Shastra, we call it as our shasanat trayate iti shastraha, that which protects through knowledge, through governance as well, to give you a way of life, it protects you. So I have to qualify myself now for this knowledge. This is where Adi Shankaras, as I said, now I studied the Veda. This is all revealed in the Veda, what the goal of life is. It is a relief to actually know there is a goal, right? Even that is a relief. Many people have different goals, but what is the goal now? Moksha is the ultimate goal. And it is the one thing we are looking for in all the goals we are pursuing in life. So Adi Shankaracharya brings in now a way of discovering the goal. In the second step of the Sadhana Panchakam, he says, Tadutitam karma svanushthiyatam. What is stated by the Veda, karma or duty, may it be performed well. So this is the way of finding the discovery, of preparing the mind for the discovery. We will leave it at the second step. I'll just introduce it because we've had a long session, and we will pick up this second step. I'm spending a bit more time first to introduce, and then we will see the steps. But the first steps are very important, so I'll spend more time on those. So we'll see the next step, afternoon class. Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhave, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya, Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.